Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Welcome to the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast. I'm Deklan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes, bizarre occurrences, and get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories. To lighten things up, we'd like to end our time with a chaser. Please keep in mind some of our stories might be upsetting to young or sensitive ears.
We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to contact us by email or social media. You can find our contact info in the show notes for this episode. If you'd like to support us through Patreon, you can find us there at Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast, or use the link in our show notes.
All right, I think I hacked in. We're on the air? Shh, security's outside. But how's my hair? It's a radio station. Psst, psst. You guys hear about the Beyond the Shadows podcast with Ryan and Scott? You guys into paranormal? What about true crime? How about UFOs and cryptids? We also have mad hauntings. We got security. No, we don't. We're not big enough to need it yet. No, we got security. Hey, what are you guys doing? Get out of here.
Listen to the Beyond the Shadows podcast.
Beyond the Shadows.
Cannot be saved. Follow me.
A weapon.
Welcome to the Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, a lo-fi sci-fi audio theater anthology series made for late nights and strong drinks. Join us monthly as we broadcast a pirate signal across time and space, featuring stories, songs, and frequencies from a rotating list of voice actors, writers, storytellers, and musicians. If you're looking for high-quality science fiction, skin-crawling horror, and other genre fiction, listen to The Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, now available wherever you get your podcasts. The Ugly Radio. See you in the void.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for stopping by once again.
Yes, how are you doing this today, Declan?
I'm tired, so I'm going
Tired?
back into caffeine. I found this little yerba mate drink, and it's pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Not
you like
it
it?
hasn't given me the jitters or anything, so
Oh, that's nice.
pretty good. Yeah.
Nice. How much caffeine
How
is in
about
it, do
you?
you know?
160 milligrams.
Oh,
Decent amount of caffeine, but
yeah.
I don't know. Tastes pretty good. It's not like super sugary. It's got 50 calories. Sounds like an
Ooh.
ad read, but it's not. Vita Mate. Pretty
Vita
tasty.
Mate. Interesting. What flavor is it?
Blackberry lemonade.
Oh, that sounds yummy. Is it
It's also
sparkly?
got a nope, not
Oh,
sparkly.
okay, then I might drink it.
It's got adaptogenics in it. I don't know what that means, but it sounds fancy.
I don't know either.
Anyways,
Yes. Unsolicited ad over. What
yes.
story are you going to be telling us about today?
I am going to be talking about Nicole Vandenhurk. It's a very weird story that I'm surprised. Well, I guess it's not super surprising that I haven't heard of it because it takes place in Germany, but it came into the news in the past couple years again, so thought I'd talk about it.
Okay. That's brutal. A brutal story?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeeks. All right.
What are you going to be telling us about?
Well, I don't want to bring any spoilers because there's a little bit of a little twist in mine. So it's going to be about psychic abilities. I'll leave it
Okay.
at that.
My story also has a twist, but it's
Ooh.
probably nothing like your twist.
Okay. Okay. Well, the drink that I brought with this, the name of it is Horsefeather, and the ingredients are 2 ounces of whiskey, half an ounce of lemon juice, 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, 4 ounces of ginger beer. And the steps are to add the whiskey, lemon juice, and bitters to a glass with ice, then top with ginger beer and stir gently to combine, and garnish with a lemon twist or a lemon slice if desired.
Okay. Kind of sounds like not a Moscow. What do they call them when you make it with bourbon?
Like
The
a Kentucky mule.
Kentucky Mule. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
similar to that.
Essentially, yeah. We'll give it a try.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It definitely has mule vibes to it, but the bitters definitely change it a little bit.
Yeah, it's more of like a robust flavor, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Right. I like it though. I'd drink that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for my bizarre story with a twist?
Yes, but didn't you have a
Okay.
review you wanted to get to
Oh,
before
yes,
that?
thank you. Huh. I got carried away. I do. Thank you for reminding me. I have an Apple podcast review from a listener that is 5 stars, the best. And it says, absolutely love this podcast. And that was left by Kadra. So thank you, Kadra, for
Yes,
sending us
thank you.
that little review and those kind words. We greatly appreciate it. And we love getting those, and I check for them all the time. So if anybody out there listening wants to make my day, I will check it and get excited. And then I will tell Deklan about it, and he will get excited. And we will both be excited.
Yes. We love good reviews.
Absolutely. So on to my story. Lady Wonder was born February 9th, 1924. She was adopted by Clarence and Claudia Fonda when she was just a few weeks old. The family lived in Virginia. Claudia would bottle feed Lady, and the two became very well bonded. As Lady got older, the Fondas developed ways to communicate with her. You know, she's a baby, so. Claudia would use wooden blocks with letters and numbers on them and children's books to teach Lady letters and words. Pretty common teaching techniques, especially back in the day. When Lady outgrew the children's books and blocks, they created a more sophisticated method. They built a large machine similar to a typewriter with padded keys that could be pushed to indicate letters and numbers. So at this point, are you wondering why the Fondas had to create a special machine to communicate with Lady?
Yes.
Yes. Well, the reason they did that is because Lady was not human. She was a horse.
I was gonna say, who names their kid that? The Lady Wonder.
Lady Wonder. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Weird name, but, you know, could have been a nickname. But no, it's a horse. Which is why I
That's
brought
ridiculous.
the drink named Horsefeather today.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Soon news got out around the country that there was a horse that could spell and communicate clearly with people as well as do math. So I'm not real good at math and I don't like doing math, but I hope that the horse wasn't better at math than me. Over 150,000 visitors would come to see Lady and and would talk with her and witness her unique skills. What was really amazing about this horse was that she could do more than just communicate. It seemed that she also possessed some psychic abilities, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to talk about what some of those were. So, according to
Okay.
Claudia, Lady Wonder was able to predict things like political race outcomes and who the winner of a boxing match would be.
Oh, like Bobo the gorilla or whatever, the one who successfully picked the Super Bowl winners like 4 years in a row.
Oh, essentially, yeah. But she was
Okay.
geared towards like
50-50 chance.
who won the presidential race. And she picked all of them except for one over a period of time.
Hmm.
And who the winner of a boxing match would be. Lady was also attributed with being able to predict shifts in the stock market, which would be amazing if you had a horse or
Yeah.
anyone telling you buy this and make a lot of money. That would be pretty awesome. I'd love
All
that.
the stocks are just related to hay and
Yeah.
saddles and stuff. It's like this company's about to go under. Make sure you sell your stocks.
Yeah,
There's
get
been a
out
hay
of
shortage.
the hay bale race with this company. Yeah. And supposedly she could predict natural phenomenon like earthquakes. J.B. Rhine was a parapsychology investigator who founded the Duke University Parapsychology Lab. He started investigating Lady Wonder's abilities in 1927. Based on his tests, he determined that there was no evidence of either conscious or unconscious signaling by the horse's owner, Claudia, or the other investigators present during the tests. He concluded that her abilities must be telepathic in nature. However, a year later, he believed that the horse had lost her powers and was now relying on cues from Claudia. So he said she's psychic, and then a year later was like, maybe not so much anymore.
She got hit in the head or something?
Maybe. In 1952, Lady made big headlines when she worked with the police in Massachusetts. Donnie Matson was a 4-year-old when he went missing from Quincy, Massachusetts 2 years earlier. Police were struggling with finding clues in the investigation, and the case was basically cold. So they thought, let's talk to Lady Wonder about it. The horse spelled the words Pittsfield Water Wheel. Police were sent to the town of Pittsfield, where there were 2 water wheels, but unfortunately they didn't find Donnie's body. A few days later, the police chief was thinking about what Lady had typed out and considered that maybe the message had come out a little wrong. He thought maybe she had meant Field and Wild Water Pit, which was a local quarry. So originally she said Pittsfield Water Wheel, and then he thought, interpreted differently, Field and Wild Water Pit. So they went to the quarry, they drained it of the water, and that's where they found Donnie's body. After 2 years. So
That's pretty crazy.
yeah. Lady participated in another law enforcement investigation when 2 children went missing in Illinois. The mother of the children consulted with Lady, who spelled out that the boys would be found in the DuPage River. The river is close to where the boys went missing from. A few weeks later, the boys were found on the frozen river. Deceased, but on the frozen river. Of course, there were skeptics who believed Lady's abilities were a hoax. 2 separate magicians attempted to verify the claims in the mid-1950s. Based on tricks that they used during their testing, they believed that the owner, Claudia, was using mentalism methods and signaling the answers to the horse. One of them noticed that if Claudia didn't know the answer to a question, neither did Lady. And I don't understand why magicians were investigating it. It seems like a weird, I can get like the parapsychology guy, yeah, or another psychology person or somebody else, but magicians, they were like, oh no, she's lying. I don't know. That just seems weird to me. But what about the police investigations? Skeptics of those cases argue that the areas where the bodies of the missing children were found were already being searched and their discoveries would have been inevitable given enough time. But the one that was found in the quarry, that was 2 years later. So they didn't have any, from the reading that and the research that I did, it didn't sound like they had any plans to drain that quarry until the police chief was like, maybe the horse meant this. And then they found his body. So
Imagine trying to tell like the people that fund that. It's like, I know this is crazy, but a horse told me to dig to drain this
yes,
quarry and is gonna find the body in here. Like,
that's
I think
true.
you'd be fired as sheriff.
You'd have
Be
a
like, he's
hard
breaking into
time
the evidence
selling that.
locker and stealing some of the drugs.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, Lady Wonder passed away from a heart attack on March 19th, 1957. Although there were skeptics as well as there is with anything that seems unexplainable, there were also true believers who thought Lady Wonder had remarkable abilities. And that is my horse story, my psychic horse story.
That is super weird.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know
tell us.
how. That just doesn't.
It's weird.
That's a weird story, Mom.
It
Very
is
weird.
weird. Yep. Be
Okay,
kind of
let's
cool though.
talk about Nicole. Yeah, if you had a psychic animal that could
Yeah.
spell. It's weird. How did it learn how to spell in English? That's my question.
Well, they taught her using blocks and stuff before they built her
But
her
how would the horse
typewriter.
know what that means?
Valid
I-
point. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it
Some
probably
frame
just
of
sees
reference.
blocks with symbols on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have questions.
Yes. It is a little questionable. So tell us your story out of Germany.
Okay. So, since this takes place in Germany and the Netherlands, I'm gonna mess up a lot of these names because I tried looking up
Oh,
like pronunciations for a lot of the places and it just wouldn't,
yes.
it didn't have any pronunciation anywhere. So,
Oh,
a lot of this
yeah.
is gonna just made up on the fly.
Okay, sounds good.
So, Nicole was born on July 4th, 1980 in Erkenlenz, Germany, to mother Angelika Tagmeyer. Not much is known about her father, however, her mother married Ad Vanden Hurk shortly after Nicole's birth. In 1989, Nicole's mother divorced her husband, Ad. However, a custody battle ensued between Angelica and Ad, and in 1995, 14-year-old Nicole was granted into Ad's custody, which arguably led to Angelica's suicide.
Oh,
Nicole was living with her grandmother and working at the Wonsel shopping center in a seasonal holiday store after the divorce. On October 6, 1995, Nicole was riding her bike to work like normal when she failed to show up for her shift. This was unusual for Nicole, so her coworkers called around to see if they had heard from her. Police were called, and around 6 p.m. that night, they located her bicycle in the River Dommel. With no sign of Nicole, the search continued. Nearly 13 days after her disappearance, her backpack was located near the Edenhoven Canal, and they started searching the canal for any clues. Thousands of tips began flowing in, including a particularly strange phone call. A man called in stating that he could identify Nicole's killer, however, the call disconnected before any information was gathered. On November 22nd, 1995, Nicole's body was located by a hiker in the woods near Mirlo.
Hmm.
Her funeral was held 6 days later, not leaving much time to investigate. However, the autopsy showed she suffered from a fatal stab wound to the ribs, 2 jaw fractures, and a severe head injury.
Oh, sad.
In January of the following year, a record of the strange phone call was broadcast over the news in hopes of identifying the caller. Nicole's stepbrother and stepfather were arrested in May and June. However, they were both cleared by investigators and released. With no good leads, the team involved in investigating the murder was cut significantly and eventually handed over to cold case investigators. By 2011, Nicole's stepbrother Andy had moved to England, and on March 8th of that year, he had posted to Facebook claiming that he personally had killed Nicole, which led to his arrest by
Oh,
British police. He was quickly extradited to the Netherlands for investigation. However, he was released due to lack of evidence. He retracted his confession and in turn blamed his father for the murder. And it might seem like Andy is a little crazy, but there was a method to his madness. Andy made this claim stating the reason that he confessed that they would exhume her body for DNA testing, which is exactly what happened.
oh.
So he planned all this. He was like, they I guess when they did the DNA testing previously, it was like since the body had decomposed, there was a lot of contamination. So
Uh-huh.
they didn't
Yeah.
really have a good idea. But after exhuming the body, investigators discovered a new foreign DNA sample. The DNA revealed a potential match, including Nicole's boyfriend and an unknown man. The team of investigators started poking into similar crimes committed in the area around the same time and location. A man who had taken a girl off his bike and assaulted her at knife point was their number one suspect because it was fairly similar to Nicole's case.
Yeah.
He had been convicted in 2001 for the crime, and investigators took DNA from that case and compared it with DNA from Nicole's case. On January 14th, 2014, a man by the pseudonym Jose de G was arrested in connection to the case. I guess they have weird laws in Netherlands that you can't give out criminals' names, which seems dumb,
Oh.
but he was assigned a pseudonym.
Okay.
The DNA collected from the suspect matched with the DNA found on Nicole's body.
Oh.
He had previously been convicted of 3 rapes and served 3 years in total for his crimes. Since there were some discrepancies in the DNA due to degradation, that led to him only being charged with rape and manslaughter. But in 2016, the manslaughter charge was dropped due to uncertainty in the evidence, and he was sentenced to 5 years. Shortly
Wow.
after the trial, the prosecution appealed the case, and in 2018, it was brought to the Supreme Court. And on October 9th, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for rape and manslaughter.
Wow.
Yeah, so a little bit of a twist there. The brother confessed, which led to the real killer being caught,
Right.
which is kind of smart. If you know it could have gone very bad. They could have just been like,
E-
oh, okay, you confessed.
exactly. Yeah, you
But
confessed, so bye-bye.
yeah,
Wow. That's risky.
yeah, we're paid out in his favor though. They got the
Yeah,
guy.
that's great. Wow. I don't know that I would take that kind of risk.
Especially when that is on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, confessing to something that you didn't do that would be like minor, like, okay, I forgot to close the door or whatever. Yes, it was me who left the ice tray on the counter and all the ice melted when it wasn't. That's, whatever, but confessing to murder, yikes.
Yeah, that's a roll of the dice for sure.
Absolutely. I don't think I would do that.
You have a chaser for us?
I do have a chaser, and it is a watch recommendation on Apple TV, the series Dark Matter,
Okay,
which
you were texting me about this, I think.
yes, it's it's a good show, but it is one that you have to watch, physically watch, because there's stuff that happens that if you were just like multitasking, you wouldn't understand until the very end and then go, what the fuck is happening? You would be so confused. However, that being said, you still get to the end and go, what the fuck what is happening? I don't understand. It's a lot of like the whole basis of it is alternate realities. And
Okay.
so
That can get very confusing, though.
it can get very confusing, especially if you're not physically watching it. So your dad and I watched it together, and there were a few times that he wasn't paying attention, and he was like, which one was that just did that thing? Because it's alternate realities. If you're not really paying attention, you are like, but it gets out of hand like the last 2 episodes. But it's a really good show. I liked it. Good actors, good acting, good storyline. Even though I tend to shy away from those kind of things because my brain goes a little off kilter when like time travel, and it's not really time travel, it's really about alternate realities. So it's a cool show.
Different
I liked
dimensions
it.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's cool.
I'll check it out then.
Yeah. How about you? What's your chaser?
I also have a watch recommendation for the movie Demolition with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
Basically, his wife, it's another movie where Jake Gyllenhaal's wife passes away. I think he's got 3 or 4 of those now, but
Oh yeah. People should stop getting
he
married to him in movies.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways, his wife dies and he starts to like lose his mind basically, but like in a funny way almost. Like
Oh.
right after his wife dies, he tries to go get a candy bar from a vending machine and it gets caught in the little coil that dispenses it.
Uh-huh.
So he starts writing overly detailed letters to the company trying to get a refund for the $1.50 that he spent. And goes into the whole backstory of his life, just kind of writing these letters, and it's a super
Okay.
trippy movie. It's definitely
That
worth a
sounds
watch.
weird.
The whole time though, you'll just be asking like, "What the fuck is happening? Why is he doing this?" And
Right.
yeah, it's just a really interesting movie.
Do you get an answer at the end of why the fuck he did all of that and he went through all of that, or are you still left wondering like, I don't get it?
There's a little bit of that where you're just like, Why? What just
Yeah.
like it? You're just questioning the whole rest of the night after you watch that movie, but it's
Okay.
pretty interesting. I think it's
Okay.
on HBO Max.
I think I saw some trailers for it, so
Yeah,
interesting.
it's interesting, that's for sure. They have some really cool shots in there.
Nice. Well, I think that wraps us up for today.
Yeah, just a short little episode for you guys.
Yeah. Quick and to the point, and boom.
Yes.
Well, we got some good chasers to change the palette and get over the stories of doom and gloom and murder and bad things.
Yes. Well, thanks for joining us once again, everybody.
Yes,
Love you, Mom.
thank you. Love you, bud. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, friends. Thank you for supporting our podcast. Please share our show with your brutal and bizarre friends. Give us a boozy follow on your favorite podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating or review as well. But maybe do that sober so all the letters are in the right place.
You can find all our contact information in the show notes. We love hearing from you, and if you're interested in helping us stock the bar for our future boozy episodes, you can find our Patreon link in the show notes as well.